let's move on to the 2027 politicking. Obviously, some of the policies or some of the things you've talked about, for them to become reality, you would have to be the president. Now, you are a member of the ADC, and also, apart from you, we've had the likes of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi indicating interest to be that party's presidential candidate. What are your chances of clinching the ticket in the ADC?
Well, let me tell you, people ask these questions about chances everywhere in the world. Parties come out with several aspiring candidates or people who have interest in elective posts. It is for the party to look, one, who among these people are most qualified, who among these people have better chances of helping us win the election. And again, I go to where I am. Who is more competent? Who is more have capacity and everything? When I say it, I know people don't like it, but I say it that of all those who are contesting today, I believe that if you check all our backgrounds, I'm the most qualified.
It's a pleasure to have you, sir, Your Excellency.
Thank you for the opportunity of not just being in Aba this morning,
all right,
being invited to your station.
Thank you, sir. Now, the engagement is on 4 stations. The first being the host station, Magic FM in Aba. We are also on Real 91, that is 99.1 FM, also in Aba. Flow 94.9 FM in Omaha is also linking us. And not forgetting Spin 95.3 FM, also in Omaha. Again, we say welcome. We cannot start from the real beginning, but there's always a beginning. Your entry into politics, as we have heard before, this time I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. It's more like accidental. And then you became a governor, there were the ups and downs, and you sailed through your 8 years, and indeed, here you are, a front runner, not just for the first time, but for the second time, and we're looking at 2027. Can you briefly take us through the journey? Briefly take us through the journey to where you are.
Well, I can't be brief about it. So what I would say is just to tell you that, yes, you're right, it's accidental. And I'm now fully involved in it and I'm committed to it. Reason being that I've found out that the only way I can help to be part of a change and building a better society is to be involved in politics. And I'm committed to it. Especially, you see the way things are in Nigeria, where the politicians, people who are in that field, are mainly the least expected in us. But to explain my journeys, it will take the whole 60 minutes.
I'm afraid.
And I'm privileged that this is my first radio interview for years, and probably the first interview I'm having anywhere this year.
Well, congratulations, Ben.
Indeed.
And it's on your station.
It's a privilege having you, Your Excellency.
Because I'm in Aba.
We understand that. Okay, let's talk about your passion for what you do. You've been fearless, you've been courageous. What is that thing that drives you? What is that thing that makes you want to continue on this path, despite the challenges and obstacles here and there?
Because the alternative is worse. If we don't do anything, we're heading to anarchy. Anarchy consumes everybody. I'm sure, I'm convinced the country is not on the right path to development. Anybody can tell you anything, anybody can exaggerate anything, propaganda can tell you anything, but if you go and measure all indices of development, we're in the negative part, and the result can show clearly. We're about doubling within 2023 and today. We're about doubling the number of people living in poverty. So it's not something that anybody can exaggerate. You're moving from 80-something million to 140 million. You see it clearly. So we're not on the right path. You're driving in the opposite direction. Our compass is not pointing in the right direction. And for people like me, we must turn that and make it point in the right direction.
All right. You have this catchphrase, and I think it's been etched in the annals of time, and maybe Nigeria's political lexicon: capacity, competence, and character, and maybe added to it from consumption to production. And all of these, for me, looking at our past experiences, seem to be alien to a very large extent in our polity. Do you think you can bring all of these, to play, into reality? Because we know where your journey is going should you arrive there.
You see, whenever, for you to be involved in anything, the first thing is to be competency. So you must be qualified. You don't go and say, oh, well, listen, I came through a flight this morning. You don't go and hire a driver and call him a pilot, because definitely you won't get to your destination. And that's what we have in Nigeria today, where we hire people who are incompetent, who don't know what the job is all about. So for them, the job is about stealing public money and packing it. They are not there to enlarge it and anything for the benefit of all. You need to have one person who have capacity, because you have to have the energy to run around, to be able to be in places and everything. I came through Enugu this morning, and I'm in Aba. You don't do that if you don't have the capacity, because you will still be sleeping by now. Governance of a difficult country like Nigeria is a 24-hour job. It's not something you do with, oh, people can reach you by midnight or by 2 a.m. It's a 24-hour job, because it's a country that is going through difficulty. You need compassion. You need to care about the people. You need to get up every day and say, why is this not happening? Why don't we have? So when you hear things that are happening, you have to show commitment. And there's examples of that abound and everywhere, where you see that these things didn't happen because there was lack of competence. They didn't know what to do. 2, they don't have the capacity. 3, there's no compassion, there's no commitment. I have been a private businessman. I know that if you're committed to your business, as a trader, you succeed. I've been part of governing a state, so I can tell you that commitment, when you are competent, you have the capacity and compassion, changes everything.
Okay, let's talk about the 2027 politicking and your chances.
No, he mentioned something which I haven't even expected. Issue of moving from consumption to production. What makes a society is productivity. If your country is productive, let's take Aba for instance. This used to be a very productive city until at the time it was taken over by hoodlums and everything. So a lot of businessmen and everything, activities were here, things were moving. The same thing goes to every other country that is productive. Today, Nigeria is not a productive country because there's no support fund system to support production. All we are doing is sharing of money. We can make more money as a country from agriculture than we make from oil. We can make more money from exports of produced goods than we make from oil. And examples are abound everywhere that you can do that. We can even produce what we eat. Today we've imported food items from outside and virtually killed our farmers. One of the most important things we eat, food we consume in large quantity here, is rice. You will agree with me?
I do.
Rice. It will shock you that a developing country like Bangladesh produces 50 to 60 million tons of milled rice. They are now about the third biggest rice producer in the world. Nigeria does not produce effectively 10% of that amount, or just about 10% of that amount. Yet, Bangladesh is a country of 148,000 square kilometers with a population of nearly 170 million, so it's heavily dense. Our two biggest states, which is Niger State at 76.3 and Borno State at 70.8, put together, is almost the size of Bangladesh, and they have about 10% of that population. So they have vast land for cultivation, but they will be taken over by hoodlums, because we're not a serious country. Half of those who are giving us problem can be gainfully employed producing same rice and everything are paid. Niger State is a fertile land, and I can go on and show you how this can change.
That brings to mind the issue of security, because food is very...
It's not an issue of security. You fight security with pulling people out of poverty. The more you pull people out of poverty, the more you can reduce criminality. I was talking about productivity. Aba here is known for clothing. They're known for shoe production. And there's vast of them. As I said, Aba is a typical example. The same Bangladesh makes nearly 50 billion from clothing, from exporting clothing. That's more than what we earn from oil. And we have tailors all over the place in Aba. We have shoemakers all over the place in Aba. Vietnam makes billions of dollars from footwear. So we can't change the country, but we need to have competent people that understands it, that will encourage it, that will have this necessary support.
Okay, let's move on to the 2027 politicking. Obviously, some of the policies or some of the things you've talked about, for them to become reality, you would have to be the president. Now, you are a member of the ADC, and also, apart from you, we've had the likes of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi indicating interest to be that party's presidential candidate. What are your chances of clinching the ticket in the ADC?
Well, let me tell you, people ask these questions about chances everywhere in the world. Parties come out with several aspiring candidates or people who have interest in elected posts. It is for the party to look, one, who among these people are most qualified, who among these people have better chances of helping us win the election. And again, I go to where I am. Who is more competent? Who is more have capacity and everything? When I say it, I know people don't like that, but I say it that of all those who are contesting today, I believe that if you check all our backgrounds, I'm the most qualified. I've been a businessman who started a business from micro to small to medium business. I've been in what you can call, apart from establishing a social business, I've been in the corporate world where I was director in several corporations. So I understand the problems with the banking industry, can deal with even not just physical issues as somebody in government, but can deal with monetary issues. I also served in the state as a governor, so I understand what it means to manage private and public resources very effectively. And it's not something, it's something people can go and verify. So if I say I'm going to fight corruption and put the resources in critical areas of development, health, education, I know what I'm talking, because I've done it before on a subnational level. If I said we're going to start real savings for the future of our children, I've done it in subnational level. And I've also traveled widely to understand what other countries are doing. I have been to Bangladesh, moved around, met with the Prime Minister. So I've been to Indonesia, moved around, met all the ministers, I met with President Widodo. So I've gone to places. If there's a conflict, like I always talk about, number one critical thing, uniting the country. I've seen what conflict, hatred can do and everything. And I've taken it to those who have written books about it. And I've also visited people like President Kagame, sat down with them and discussed this. So it's something I'm not just saying. I can tell you places I've been to know how to deal with issues, whether it's power, whether it's this and everything. So it's not just saying here and saying, I'm going to increase this, I'm going to do this. I've studied it, I've looked at it, I'm looking at the numbers. So I'm not one of those who go into office and start saying what I saw when I came in. I'm seeing it now, I'm planning how to deal with it.
Okay, Your Excellency, Mr. Peter Obi is our guest on this very special broadcast today. You just mentioned power. I recall that in 2022 or thereabout, you were in Egypt.
Yes.
To see why and how it worked there. Hoping that you would become president and then there will be this paradigm shift in the power sector. We have a president today who promised Nigeria about that same time that if he did not provide power and that Nigerians would not pay estimated bills, that if he yearned for a second term, he should not be given the chance. Today, the grid falls almost every other month. Even now that we're speaking, we have the issue of power from Gencos to Discos to, even the energy setup basically. With the Iran-US-Israel conflict now, the energy sector matter has been worsened.
No, don't bring Iran-Israel into it.
No, okay.
Please, we have a problem before this one.
So yes, I had gone to power. I'm just adding that, So what can we do? Because you were in Egypt, and that's the background I'm using to this question.
As somebody who believes that a leader must be a listener and a learner. If you want to lead, you must listen to people. You must learn. And for me, 3 countries of the world have done a great job in power generation, distribution: Vietnam, India, and Egypt. These are all developing world. These are countries that are comparable to us. So I decided that I'm going to start with visiting Egypt, since in Africa. Egypt have doubled their power from 2015 to 2021, 2020. Egypt have doubled their power from about 20,000 megawatts to over 40,000 megawatts. It might interest you to know that Egypt expects power to Europe, some part of Europe. Because they have more power than they need. And if you go there, they are not done by foreigners, they are done by Egyptian engineers. Yes, they have contract with Siemens, Powell, the one from America,
General Electric,
and all that, and they have been able, I can tell you, to do a lot. And I did visit the generation facilities, distribution, and everything, and I could see what they have done and how they did it. And some other countries who did the same thing, like South Africa, where you have captive power, where you have this and everything, and you could see the difference. Despite the promise of this government, it will shock you that no power plant sponsored by government have been commissioned in the past 3 years, and none will be to the end of this term, because it takes time. So one wonders, how could somebody promise something knowing fully well it's not going to do anything about it? And because Nigeria is a country you can get away with anything, they don't even care to apologize and be able to explain, because there's an apology by the minister.
Yeah, exactly.
The minister didn't promise us that. The person who promised it is the person that could have come with a convincing explanation why, and then I apologize. Not the minister. It is the person who promised it. Nobody expecting,
speaking for the president.
Nobody expected him to achieve 100% results. But there was no 100% effort. We've moved from where we have 4,000 something to under 3,000. And you're speaking to us through your appointee. That's what I'm saying about this country. That's what they call about lack of capacity and compassion. We voted somebody, not you, not minister. I won't be talking to Nigerians through minister. I'll be talking to them directly. The minister is the appointee. We voted you. I was governor in Anambra State. I wasn't speaking through my commissioners. I promised them I'm going to change education. I promised them I'm going to deal with the issue of health. So from day one, I said, what do we have in health? Do we have school of nursing? Do we have school of midwifery? Do we have school of medical technology? Because for you to talk about turning around health sector, you have to have the human capital to drive the process. It is not about building hospitals. No. You have the human capital. If you have to talk about the education, you have to go back, look at the schools, look at what is happening. And that I did. I visited every single secondary school in Anambra State, over 500 of them. I made sure when I started, there was no single school of nursing, midwifery, health technology that was accredited. By the time I left, there were over 10. So if you know what you promise, let's see it. I said I will open up rural areas. I started. Even when you have not achieved 100% of what you promised, the people want to see 100% effort, because that's what you promised. Okay. But in this country, you promise something, then you go home and sleep. Right. And they expect everybody to feel, oh, it's you.
Well, Your Excellency, you've delved into the power sector and the energy sector as well. That's quite let's talk about something sensitive, a sensitive area, which is subsidy removal. In 2023, in your manifesto, you did state that you would remove subsidy. Now, with what we have seen, the effect of subsidy removal, is that the policy you would want to pursue if you become the president?
It's 100%. When I said I was going to remove subsidy, from Naira, I said we'll do it in an organized manner. And there's nothing wrong in removal of anything. When the president removed subsidy, he said it's for us to save money and invest it in other critical areas. It is for us to save money. Even they showed within a few months, they showed billions and trillions that were saved. The question is, where is the money saved? Where did we invest it? There's nothing wrong in saying you're removing money from here. People want to see the investments. It's like we're borrowing money now. There's nothing wrong in borrowing. But where is the money we are borrowing? Is it for consumption? Is it for production? If you borrow for consumption, you have a crisis. If you borrow for production, that's it. Every other country has debts. Countries have more debts. Japan have 200% of their GDP. Singapore, we cite every day, have over 100% of their GDP in debts. I can go on and show you countries, but the money they borrowed is invested. So they know where it is, because it's in productivity. And that is helping them to grow more, create jobs for their people and everything. But here, we're borrowing money, like this present government have borrowed more money. And all the previous governments, before it put together, where is the money borrowed? All you have is same people, one person coming to talk in social media. The man who is borrowing the money, we have a constitution. We have a law. Borrowed money are supposed to be for investment. It's you that is supposed to explain to the people. As president, I'll be speaking to Nigerians. You should be able to every quarter come out and say to us, we borrow this money because we need to solve this. We borrow this money because we need to solve it. And everybody will see that this money we are borrowing is being invested in critical area of development, which is health, education, and pulling our people out of poverty. We can't be throwing people into poverty and we are borrowing trillions.
As President, Your Excellency Mr. Peter Obi, we live in a country where there seems to be no consequence. People commit crimes, those who are involved in, high-profile corruption, and maybe because they belong to some sections, they are not dealt with. And others, even if they were not dealt with, when they cross the line to the other side, we have what we call selective justice. As president, would you allow consequence across board? Something that some people call, I think I had to note it down, class suicide, damning the consequence and ensuring that beyond political affiliation, beyond influence, beyond money, beyond ethnicity, religion, tribe, that you can deal with people using the laws of the land, because that does not seem to be what we're seeing.
Let me tell you, in my manifesto and everything, I've said it. I'll fight corruption head on. If you want to fight corruption, the first thing is that you are not involved. If you are not involved, your wife and children are not involved, you reduce it by 50%. And I've also challenged people. I've been governor in Anambra State. Go there and show me where billions of their money is missing. Show me one contractor who will say, sat down with Peter Obi, and Peter said, I'll give you this contract, but I'll put this one for myself. Nobody has ever able to come out with that. I've challenged them. I kept their money Let me even tell you, no thief sees what he can steal and keep it. The day I left Anambra State as governor, I had in three banks, Access Bank, 12 billion naira, $50 million. Fidelity Bank, 12 billion naira, $50 million. Diamond Bank, which your present governor, Electoral, was managing director, 12 billion naira, $50 million. And I bought other investments. Everything I left then cumulatively was to the value of $500 million, $500 million. Nobody in this country at national, at sub-national level have left such. And nobody asked me to save it. Nobody even asked me to put it in dollars. But because I saw that the country was trading in dollars and this decided to let me save some in dollars. Let me say, if that money, the one I saved in dollars, was still to be there today, it would have been over $500 million. So Anambra would have had $500 million at today's rate, which would be almost $1 trillion naira. No other state. And this is not, people will say, oh, he didn't do anything. Remember, in education, we became #1. And every state, in every school, in secondary school, had a bus. Every second, to tell you how good it is, we fix it. They have healthcare facilities. We have bought computer. Till date, I have bought the highest computer for HP of any sub-national place in the whole of Africa. And I still said it till date. I didn't say yesterday. Till date.
You were able to do all of this because you were not giving shishi. What you're saying is that the not giving shishi will continue.
No. Public money should be used for public good. If you want to be a businessman, no. It's not. There's nothing called stingy.
Okay.
Public money is meant for public good. We are talking about corruption. We have now a situation where lunatics have taken over the asylum, so they're doing anything they like. It's become a crime scene where you just steal public money as you like. So when you say about will I deal with those? No, not when I'm not taking it. You can't take it. So now I'm giving you an example what we're able to achieve, how we're able to save money. And since I left, where I asked, there's no pension law. Anambra has never bought me a sachet of pure water. And this is my about 14 years of living government.
Well, Your Excellency, your critics accuse you of playing a double standard or having double standard. You may be clean based on what you've said and your antecedents, asking people to go and verify. But recently, your critics say you're beginning to dine with the people or some persons with corruption allegations hanging around their necks. And so what do you say to such persons who say, yes, Obi has been preaching the need to have a corruption-free society, but in the same breath, is dining with perceived corrupt individuals?
I think the most important thing in our life today, especially me, is the Almighty God, which was represented in his son Jesus, that came. When Jesus came here, his friends were tax collectors and prostitutes. Because it's all part of what he's trying to change. It's all part of what he's trying to build as the person. I'm not saying I don't know any of them who have been convicted for corruption. Most of them are actually facing persecution because yesterday they were the people who were sent. Let me let Malame Rufai, for example. Everybody knows contribution of Malame Rufai to the present government. Everybody knows contribution of Malami, all these people. So are they really? And you can look around and see so many other people who are part of this government. So why are these ones being persecuted? Are they going through the rule of law? Are they doing the right things? I will do the right things. I will ensure that the law prevails. I will ensure that things are done in organized manner. I'm not going to be chasing people, going to ask people to break into their house. I'm not going to ask people to go through the roof to be able to. No, must have civility and order. We have a law. I will make sure that law applies, enforced, with respect, with dignity, with everything.
That law is said to be selectively applied today.
Not just selectively.
Mm-hmm.
It is very, very selectively applied. Because we know we could see worse. People have done worse. People who are actually should not be part of us. All moving around like stars and everything. When we're busy targeting those who think are political opponents. I'm one of them. I've been a victim of all sorts of things. When I should have been given an award for being the only one that left money. In other countries of the world, I'll be celebrated. In Nigeria, it's the opposite. They call you names, they hire talks, they hire media talks, they have to call you names to say, oh, you're not consistent, you're a thief, you're this thing. Some even say, oh, it's a package fraud. You send them, where is the package? Where is this thing? The banks that left this money are in Nigeria. I didn't leave them abroad. And nobody have gone to any of these banks and they said, Peter didn't leave money here. In a country where nobody asked me to save money. So instead of celebrating you and using you as an example to encourage others to do the same thing, you are being called all sorts of names because they don't want it to work.
All right, we still have in the studio His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. It's a special broadcast. As a matter of fact, we're on 4 radio stations. Magic 102.9 FM here in Aba. We also have Real 99.1 FM in Aba, 94.9 FM, that is Flow FM in Umahia, and Spin 95.3 also in Umahia. You talked about being labeled, being harassed and all that. At some point you said the ruling party is trying to do everything to scuttle your chances of participating in the 2027 election. We've seen also some level of brigandage towards you, your party, the ADC, in recent times. One in Benin. After that, there was another in Cross River State. Does that shake you in any way? As someone we have described earlier on the program, on the interview, as being resilient, courageous, and all that. Has that shaken your foundation in any sense?
It won't do that. That won't happen. Yes, the present government is bent on ensuring that I'm not a candidate of any party. I was in Labour Party. We had issue, we went to court. We won our own side. Went up to Supreme Court and believe we won. And all the things we want to do to resolve the issues and everything, from April when the court decided, which would have allowed us to be able to resolve, even bring everybody together and resolve it, they did not do. INEC, the body that was supposed to help us, did not do anything. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. About 8 months to 9 months. Nothing was done. Until they started telling the leadership and certain category of people that they will not do anything until Obi, as long as Obi is there, because of the interests of the government. So I decided, okay, we're already talking with the coalition. Let me now join. The day I said I'm joining coalition, 31st of December, by 7th of January, they recognize that. So what else do you want to tell? I'm going to write. People have said, oh, he left APGA, oh, he left PDP, oh, he left. Eventually in my life, I'm going to write a book and say how I left all these parties. I've never left any party. I was virtually chased out of every one and each of them by what I consider unacceptable positions, attitude, and everything towards me. So I have to leave. I'm in ADC today. And I also expect ADC to be a party that means well for the people. Even if today we have a collection of very senior respected Nigerians who can look at Nigeria and say, no, this place cannot collapse. For the sake of our children, let's sacrifice. Let this happen. Let that happen. And that is my hope, that we're going to do that. We must come to a place where we must stop. It's not about being president. I'm not desperate to be president. I'm desperate to see Nigeria work. I'm desperate to see a society where a child of nobody can be somebody without knowing anybody. I'm desperate to see security in Boronu, security in Abia, security in Benue, security all over Nigeria, in Ondo, everywhere. And I, as president, will visit all of it. I'm not going to say, oh, there's a problem in Benue, I'm in Abuja. No, I'll go to Benue. And when I go to Benue, if the road is bad, I will drive to the place. I'll walk there. If it's raining, it will pour me, not school children. I'm the one the rain is supposed, because I'm the one who said I'm going to provide security. I'm going to ensure that if there's a bomb in Boronu, I either go there before leave to my tour, or if I don't, I will come back and go there immediately. I want to go to Kwara and see what is happening. I'm the one that is going to, if you're the one that is elected, we want you to take responsibility. You chose that job. We hired you for it. We didn't come to force you. You said, I can do it. What do you do in Nigeria? You hire somebody and it starts reminding you about the man who was there before. No, if the man who was there before was doing well, we will hire you. I want Nigerians to hire me and they'll see the difference. When I was hired in Anambra State, everybody saw the difference. They saw civility, they saw order, they saw an organized society where somebody who is in charge behaved from himself to what he was doing.
All right, Your Excellency, I want to believe you've seen the 2026 Electoral Act as amended by the National Assembly. Your party has been quarreling with some sections of the purported amended Electoral Act. Would like to get your personal assessment. If you've seen it, what do you think about the Electoral Act?
It's very shameful of Nigeria. Where in this time and age, we cannot conduct a simple election. Very, very shameful of us. Every other country of the world have taken the issue of election serious. First, starting with the qualification. We have in our laws and rules qualification which you have. Today, people don't have that qualification, and they've been. When I traveled to Indonesia, when I went to Bangladesh, I went to the electoral office and I said to them, what is your qualification? They told me. I said, suppose if somebody is not qualified, they were shocked. They said the person will be in jail. In Nigeria, we've now removed forgery. Oh my God. What society are we building? I hope that those who are doing that will know they will not be in National Assembly forever. And history will judge them for being part of this catastrophe they've imposed. What is in collude? Having a result transmitted real time. India is a country of 1.4 billion with about 1 billion registered voters. With about 1 billion registered voters. Which in each election, about 60% of that will cast their vote. So you're talking about over 600 million, and that election is honestly collated through direct transmission, and everybody accepts it. And that's why the country is working. We are 1/7 of India, yet we cannot do it because some people are determined on doing what is wrong, and they get away with it, and they're happy with it. But thank God, none of us will live here forever. None of us will pack all those monies we're stealing, all those properties. We're not going to go with it. One day you drop dead, your children will find the smallest tiny corner of the property, one of your properties, to bury you, because they must make sure they bury you where it won't affect the value of the property they're going to inherit. Because they will not bury you in front of that, they will bury you at the back where it will not affect them if they don't sell it before they even bury you. So one day you go, and if you remember that one day you go, what will you be remembered for? For being one of those who said that forgery is no longer an offense.
Okay, time is really winding out, but we need to look at your party now. Issues surrounding the party at the moment. The issue of litigation, where my uncle, David Mark, is the chairman, but some persons are contesting that his chairmanship is flawed and you're in court. That is one. Let's wrap it together so that we can deal with it. The issue of manifesto, your manifesto, we're told that the ADC is also ready.
Well, you know, let me start with the issue of leader. All you're seeing happen with the issue of leadership and everything in every other party is government. It is instigated by the government of today. I was in Abga, and we had issue. And I recall then President Yaradua calling the then chairman of INEC, Professor Morisiu, said, I don't want to have problem with any party. I remember that when he came, he said that the process through which he came into office is not what he wished, and he will correct it. And he went on to correct it. I do not want any problem in any party. And that was followed by the president that came after him, Jonathan. I had my second tenure during Jonathan's tenure. With all the mighty PDP, I won. Election was free and fair. And that continued to his own where he accepted defeat and left. But we have not seen destroy the entire house for me to leave. Even by those who were shouting and claiming to be the most democratic people, they've now become the most anti-democratic personalities we have in Nigeria. They don't want to destroy everything. Every party have a problem because the government decides so. These are things that will fix. I've said it before. I will unite the country. I will ensure that parties function the way they function. things work the way they should work.
Okay. Recently, we saw pictures and videos of you in Kano State. That was a marriage people expected to happen, a marriage between the obedience movement and the Kwankwasia movement in 2023 or before the 2023 elections. That did not happen. Will that marriage happen this time before the 2027 election?
Well, for me, I go around everywhere. I'm in Aba today. The same thing. I mean, on that Sunday, I was in Kaduna earlier in the morning. From Kaduna, I went to Katsina. From Katsina, I went to Kano. So I didn't just go to Kano. The same day, I arrived Kaduna by 9 a.m. I left Kaduna about 12 to Katsina. Arrived Katsina about 12:30. Left Katsina about 3:30 to Kano. So I've been going around, and I'll continue to go around. In the next few days, you'll still see me going to maybe Sokoto, maybe Kebbi, maybe Kano again. Maybe it's all part of our political life. It's saying, let's come together as a family. I said it in Kano. If I am president of Nigeria, with the present insecurity in different regions, I'll go to those regions and spend a week.
Your Excellency, let me rephrase the question. With what we saw, have you and Kwankwaso agreed to work together ahead of 2026?
We are trying to be part of that coalition. For us to be able to reverse what is happening in this country today, all the oppositions have to come together. And that's why I said we have to do a sacrifice where we say, listen, it's not about Peter Obi, it's not about Mechi, it's not about only the Atiku, it's not about this, but what do we do to make the country work? We want to have a situation where we come together and sacrifice, be able to deal with issue of our unity, issue of justice, issue of love as a nation, which is what is lacking today. When East and West Germany came together, the West, knowing fully well their might, their this, decided, let's have a leader from East. That's where Angela Merkel came. So we can show them love and justice. Let's do the foundation like that in Nigeria. Because we need to unite the country. We are not united today. It is not helping us. It's affecting us in issues to focus on development, to focus on insecurity, to focus on this. This is what is lacking. Where people feel, it's not going to be this person, it's going to be this person. Why don't we have voted for tribe, we voted for religion. Let this one be for competence. Let it be for capacity. Let it be for compassion. Let it be for commitment. That's what we want to do.
Your Excellency Peter Obi, your day is always loaded. You're not just a magic after magic. You are going elsewhere in Aba. We understand is the recreation club. What exactly are we expecting you to do there?
Well, for me, just to go and tell our people to in ADC to register online, and other people to register and be part of the voting system, because we want people to continue to tell people we are the ones who are going to change the society. Society is not going to change by itself. It's by us coming together, doing what is right, that will change it. That's what I've been preaching since 2002.
All right, so the Recreation Club on Park Road, Aba, is the next point of call for His Excellency Peter Obi when he leaves here. And you may want to have a view of him, listen to what he's got to say. Of course, he's coming there as a motivator. Already we're hearing about, the registration going on in other parts of the country, the numbers and all that. And it appears that the Southeast is not really matching or measuring up. You would want to be motivated on that. So, Your Excellency, I know that precisely is what you're going to do, just like you have told us. Yes, we've talked about class suicide, which, of course, you addressed very well. Now, let me ask you, what should make you laugh. As governor, there was a salient advice you got from someone. You said he's a madman. Is he still around? Do you still see him?
You won't believe it. I met him yesterday.
Wonderful.
You won't happy saw him. Yes, he's there. Let me tell you, he's not entirely a madman. People don't understand.
Okay.
I'm talking about somebody who was actually in the same secondary school I went to.
Okay.
I'm talking about somebody who actually went to study in America, but came back and somehow had a mental problem. So he understands the society. So yes, I can classify him as a madman, but
quote and unquote,
he is somebody who is equally organized. She was with, if you ask those who were with me on yesterday, they saw when he had, because we know we meet in common places. They saw when he came to me and hugged me. They even saw when he was telling me about issues of what is happening and parties and all that. And he tells me such issues. So I said a leader must listen to everybody. A leader must be a listener. And he must be somebody who is willing to learn. Once you can't listen and learn, you shouldn't lead.
In few seconds, Your Excellency, you talked about the issue of age. You are in your 60s, running almost to 70, right? Am I correct?
No.
You are in your 60s.
I'm still below. I'm in my 60s, but not.
Okay.
I'm not in where you said almost to 70.
Okay, you are heading up there.
I'm not heading there.
There was a point you talked about age, and you know what is happening around the world today, where younger, stronger, millennial people are in charge, even in Africa and even in West Africa here. Forget where, coupists, usurped governance and all that. And then you also talked about running for one term if you were voted. Do you stand there on that particular, idea of yours?
Let me tell you what will shock you.
Yes.
Nobody born out. Nigeria today is 65 years, because this year will be 66 from independence. It will shock you that nobody born after independence have led this country. And they kept telling people, the young shall grow. 65 years after, nobody had been the president of this country. It is those who were born before independence. When I talk about capacity, it's evident everywhere. The present Indian Prime Minister started at 63. The present Chinese president started at 60. 59, 60. Joko Widodo of Indonesia, who is the most popular, started about 65, 55, and ended about 65. So I can go on and show you. It is not about me. It is about what is possible. I just told you that I went to 3 states in one day. I can't do that at some time in my life. I just told you that I arrived in Enugu, and I drove to Abana, and I'm in your station, and I finished now. I'm going to Owerri, I'm going to Onitsha, and I'll fly back to Lagos and end up in Abuja also today or tomorrow. So these things, you can't do them after some time.
All right, sir. I think we just have to go. Time will not permit us. But I quickly need to say that His Excellency will be at the Recreation Club right away as it goes out of Magic FM. So you may wish to catch up with him there. Well, thank you so very much, Mr. Peter Obi, former governor of Anambra State, presidential hopeful for African Democratic Congress ADC in the 2027 election. Thank you for gracing our studio. It's a real pleasure.
No, thank you for the opportunity. Like I said, I came into Aba today, and of course I've not been able to accept the invitation for any interview, but Aba is special to me, because I believe that Aba is one of those cities we'll use as an engine to change Nigeria. It's one of those places I believe I will invest my time and energy in to bring the best out of it.
All right, my name is Bonnie Onobu.
My name is Ben Watto. Thank
We
you for being part of
hosted,
the conversation.
and we thank you for joining us.
Thank you.